Hello, and thank you for joining me for this re-record of the IGPM webinar about our accreditation framework. Unfortunately, the computer system, the IT, let us down when we did this live, and it didn't record the whole session. So I'm just going to run through it to give you that overview of what the session was about. So we're going to talk about our new accreditation framework. A reminder of who the Institute of General Practice Management are. Myself, I'm Kate Keane. I'm the practice manager at Alvanley Family Practice up in the Northwest in Stockport. And my fellow directors are Joe, Robin and Nicola. We're also pleased to report that because we realise as an institute that we need to listen to the principalities, we need to listen to our members in Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales. We have appointed an Associate Director of Wales, Gareth Thomas. And Gareth is a practice manager himself and he works in South Wales. And he is well known in the Welsh practice management community. And we're going to be developing that role with Gareth so that then we can replicate it across the other nations, so that we make sure that we get things right for all of our members, even if it's only things like the terminology, the organisational structures, and those differences that we have across the whole of the NHS. So huge welcome to Gareth. And also of note is Professor James Kingsland. So James has worked with us from the beginning of our work on accreditation. So he's our specialist advisor for professional standards, has years and years of experience of working in this field and has been very supportive. He's led all of our testing processes, helped us to design the standards and worked really closely with Robin. Huge thanks to our director, Robin Clark. She is a HR professional by background, and she really deserves the credit for pulling this together along with James. So I'm sorry Robin's not here to take her place and to talk all the way through it. Unfortunately, she's unwell at the moment. She's done 2 years without COVID, and then just as we get to the end of this process, unfortunately, she's caught it. So thank you to both of them. So you'll remember that the IGPM was first put together by the four of us as practice managers because we were continually told that we weren't a profession, that we didn't have that professional registration, that accreditation that we needed to take part in some activities that were being offered by NHS England. In particular, the kind of final straw for us was the new to partnership scheme, and the fact that because there wasn't an accredited body, there wasn't a professional organisation, we couldn't do that. So the four of us thought, well, we're practice managers, we can set one of those up. So that's exactly what we've done, along with all the other things that you will be aware of that we've done in the last 18 months. It's kind of a little bit overwhelming really when we look back and see all those things, but we really wouldn't have done them without the support and the generosity of all of you as practice managers that believe in us, and also from our employers as well, that believe that practice managers are key in every general practice across the UK. So this accreditation is going to be a fee-based accreditation. It has to be something that you need to pay for, or that somebody that supports you needs to pay for. There'll still be a non-accredited level of membership, so you can still join us, you can still be part of the IGPM, you can still pay your £50 a year, but you can go that step further, and you can then become accredited and have those letters after your name, IGPM, so member of the Institute of General Practice Management. And I just want to stress that lots of us have qualifications, lots of us have picked up qualifications along the years. We might have degrees, we might have masters, we might have AMSPA diplomas, we might have the NAPC, HMFA kind of career qualifications, but what none of us have is a professional registration in practice management. So this is different. This puts us side by side with the Royal College of General Practitioners, who incidentally are very supportive of this work. So although you might have those qualifications that give you letters after your name, what you're not at the moment is a member of a professional organisation. You don't have that registration as part of a professional organisation. What we're doing now will give you that. So it's really, really exciting. So we spent a lot of time getting this right, and I know some of you may have been frustrated, particularly those of you that were thinking about whether the new to partner scheme might include you at some point. So we did our best, and we tried to get it out before the end of March, but it was just impossible with everything else that was going on in general practice. So we'd done some development work with Professor Kingsland. We'd worked with Michelle and Louise Greenwood from Wessex to get the standards in the right place. And then in early April, we got some of our regional representatives and of course the 4 directors to go through that process. And there was 12 of us that went through that process, and we all looked at it very differently, which is great, because when we push this out to all of you, you will all look at it differently as well. Some of you might take, hours to do it. Some of you might take days to do it. Some of you might think, oh my God, that form, I don't know where to start. I need lots of thinking time. So between the 12 of us, we kind of had lots of different experiences of filling in those application forms. Those 12 people, as I say, the 4 directors and our regional reps. And our intention is that all of our regional reps will be accredited, which means that they can help you when you need to do your accreditation, when you need to complete those forms. They can talk through some of the areas for you and some of the examples that you might use. So you'll see those domains as we move forward. What I must also add is that out of those 12, there were 2 applicants that then needed to resubmit. Now we're trying to. They didn't fail. They just didn't hit all of those areas at that point in time. So what we do is we went back to them and said, there are these areas that you didn't quite hit the mark. You've got 12 months to resubmit. So those people will be able to do that. Really important, if you can get everything in the first time, get all your information, think about the work that you did in this job and perhaps your previous job. Think about all that experience, all of those things that we do, and those things that we do and we kind of forget we do. So we'll go through the domains in a second, and I'll explain some of that in more detail. So just to manage our time, because the accreditation process is going to be run, we hope, by our regional reps and perhaps some independent associates who have worked in practice management so that they understand our terminology and our processes. But we need to limit the number of application windows. And this is very normal in in accreditation bodies. So we're going to have 3 application windows in a year, and there is going to be a fee. We can't get away from the fact that there needs to be a fee, but we've tried to just make that fee as low as possible, so it's not a money-making exercise. It's the way that we pay those 3 individuals that are going to look through your assessment, and we need some money to plan those assessments to make sure that we're choosing assessors that are in a different geographical area, that are collecting all the information from you. So there is a little bit of admin and management costs in that £280 as well. So you'll either meet those standards or you're asked to resubmit. Nobody fails. You either don't meet them or you do meet them. And you're then allowed to resubmit within the 12 months, and that is a reduced fee at that point. So during the live recording, we asked people who they'd ask to help with the accreditation costs. We know that £280 can be a lot of money for a practice manager, well, anybody to find at in the current climate. So we have some evidence already of a CCG that has offered to pay for the accreditation for their practice managers. So we wondered if others might go and ask their CCG or their partnership or LMC or any other organisation within their locality or their region or their country. And it looked like from that question that we asked in the live session that most people would go to their organisation, to their practice, to their employers and ask if they would pay that fee. The chat revealed that the someone else, so the fifth place, was people thinking that they would need to self-fund, and you know that is right too in lots of situations. But we feel probably the first port of call should be the organisations around us, who then may say, well, we'll pay half, you know, and you fund the other half. So there's lots of ways that we might be able to cut this as practice managers to get that funding. So I've talked to you a little bit about there being 10 domains, and I'm going to go on to those next. And it's a closed marking system. So there shouldn't be any bias from any one of those assessors in that situation. So the marks accrued across each of those 10 domains. So that means that if one of the areas you don't score so highly, I don't know, in my case, I couldn't really give any examples about doing a building project because I'm in a rented building, so I couldn't give any examples about, you know, having an extension or building new rooms and all that kind of detail that lots of you will have been through. So it might be that I scored a bit lower in that one, but I picked up those points in another section. So the reapplication process means that reduced fee will be £120. And again, that is just so that we can get those assessors back together. We know they'll take a shorter amount of time, but 3 assessors will need to look at those domains that you didn't quite have enough information on. So not for us to make money. Throughout this, you'll know that we've not taken any money out of the IGPM. So we know the benefits, you know the benefits. It is that clear document that shows every organisation what a practice manager does. So that accreditation shows all of the areas, the domains list what is expected of a practice manager. So it's a really good document if you're recruiting for a practice manager, if your partners don't understand what you do all day, and it shows that there is a career in practice management. So it's people like the education organisations are getting really excited that they can link their courses to part of that development framework. So we can see that the people that are coming behind us will have that, will be able to aspire to get through the programme of work. And of course, we'll have that professional registration. We will be in line with organisations like the Royal College of General Practitioners. And I can't quite believe that when I say it, because we've done this in 18 months and it is incredible. The will and the positivity around the practice management community is amazing, and we're so proud of all of you for helping us to do this. So I'll just talk through those 10 domains for you. So of course, lots of us have done qualifications, lots of us have experience within our practice team. You might have membership to a national body, you know, you might be in the NAPC council, you might be part of your a group at your CCG where you represent practice managers, you might be somebody that within your PCN you look after a particular area of work. All of those things count as evidence. So that's the qualification and achievements. Then there's a section about reflective practice and how you manage yourself. So we might want to see things like your appraisal and evidence that you're doing regular CPD. Those kind of things will fit in that personal qualities. So if there are any kind of written compliments, any of those kind of things where you've really solved a problem and somebody's just sent you an email to thank you, save all this stuff now. You know, start thinking about the things you can use as evidence. In the leadership section, you might be able to put things like your organizational chart. You might have you will have implemented new ways of working. So you might have been involved in the COVID vaccination program, and you can say what you did in that, provide some evidence of what you did and how you organized it and how you pulled your team together and how we did the biggest vaccination program in the history of the NHS. We all took part in that. So even if you weren't the practice manager or the PCN manager that led on that, everybody, every management role within general practice will have paid part in that leadership of that program. So this is not just for practice managers. We're very clear that this is open to anyone who manages in practice. So you could be a finance manager, an operational manager, a reception manager, PCN manager. You will all have some experience within these domains. Then, of course, improving patient services, so that continuous improvement and evaluation. It might be that you do an annual questionnaire to your patients. It might be part of doing that patient participation group and the work with them, working with practice managers across your patch, and working on the kind of things that we do and we don't think we're doing, like the QoF and the enhanced services, all that, making sure we meet the contract, all of those things. Just find your evidence. So that might just be a screenshot from the fact that you've got your QoF points. All of those things will count. So I'll just keep repeating that now start thinking about your evidence. Think of the things that you can put in these domains. Working with patients, again, your PPG, anything else you've done around patient and public involvement. You might have organised an event where you've had a speaker to come and talk to some of your patients. You might have organised, let me think, group consultations. You might have organised the volunteers for the vaccination programme. You might be doing some great things on social media or writing newsletters. Loads and loads of stuff that you can put into this section. Then on workforce, you will, whichever role you're in practice, will be involved in recruitment and retention and that planning. If we get somebody handing their notice in, it's not very often we replace like for like. We use that as an opportunity to think about how we're going to do things differently. So you can give some of those examples around workforce. It might be how we've integrated the R staff within our team. What did we do? How did we make sure that our team understood what a care coordinator did and how that all knits together? So you will have done all of this stuff without really thinking about it. Of course, finance performs a great big part of this accreditation, and you need to demonstrate that you manage those practice finances. Looking at income streams, looking at our practice accounts. It might be that you manage a finance manager, or you might be that finance manager. Whichever way, it will show in an organizational structure that you have some responsibility for that stability, that fiscal stability to the practice. So even if you don't have a budget, you might be responsible for a particular area of stuff and things. So if you're the one that looks after the ordering of the stationery and you always make sure you get the best deal, all that stuff. Really, really important. Estates, so health and safety, thinking about impacts on patients and the environment that we're in, any estates planning that you've done. So as I say, this is the area that I found a little bit more difficult for myself. So just because we hadn't done a big rebuild since I've been a practice manager here. So sometimes you have to look back to previous roles when you might have done this. What I had done was change an office into a clinical room. So that was one of the things I could give for my evidence. More and more we're working with other organisations. So domain number 9 really is about building those relationships, thinking about you know, how we work with other practice managers across the patch. We might be working more with public health, our local councils. We might have a GP federation that we work with. We might have volunteers that are coming into our practice. You will have lots of examples with that working outside your practice. And then the final one, and one that of course we would expect in here, is that compliance with QOF, compliance with CQC, making sure if you've had any changes to your partnership agreement, you've done that along with the legal team that you've employed to do that. Any assurances that you've been through with your commissioners around enhanced services, you know, anything different that we're doing. We've done so much around this domain during COVID when we've sent returns to say that we've vaccinated everybody, or the percentage of people that have been vaccinated. You know, we can talk about negotiating contracts. There's just so much in that section that you should be able to draw on. Now, what we're also doing, as well as developing those domains, we're talking to at the moment, we're talking to 2 organisations that are helping us to build something that will feed into this. And our hope is that that will then go across the UK to support practice managers to get these domains. So we're talking to Health Education England in the Northwest, and they're developing an apprenticeship for practice management. And that's the first apprenticeship that does this, first in the country, first in the UK, that's specific for general practice management. And one of our regional reps, Tim, is leading on that. And that will mean that that apprenticeship fits those 10 domains. So if you pass that apprenticeship, you get this and you're accredited. So that's incredible, isn't it? That we can look to our deputy managers and say, well, you know, this fits. This is the thing that you need to do in order to be the person that follows in my footsteps. And we all want that. We all want to know that there is somebody behind us that's ready to take over the reins. So that's that one. And then in Greater Manchester, we're working with the RCGP and with GP Excellence. And what we're trying to do is look at the training opportunities that are already available across Greater Manchester, and then direct them to these 10 domains and map them over, so that we know that when we're offering a training course to our practice managers or anybody within general practice, it will say on that form that this will fit with domain 9 of the MIGPM. So that we're not sending practice managers on courses that are not suitable, not applicable. I mean, there will be some that are just nice to do, and we all want to do those nice to do ones as well. But equally, we want to go on a course. If we're using our time, we want to make sure that it's going to help us to get our accreditation. So those are 2 really exciting things that are happening at the moment. The one I've just described with GP Excellence and the RCGP, if we get that right in Greater Manchester, what the agreement is that we'll roll it out to other regions as well, with that stamp of the GP, so that GPs take notice as well. And we know that's one of the barriers that we might get. But once we've got the RCGP stamp of approval on all these things, then our GPs will start to listen and start to support us to make sure that we get this accreditation individually. Okay. So then we asked our members, we asked the audience when we did the live session, who's ready to apply now? And overwhelmingly in that session, the majority of people said that they were ready to apply there and then. And we've had, I think we're 2 days post live, and we've already had tons of people wanting to get the application forms to send their money in. So we know it's not going to be for everyone. We know that, you know, some people, depending on where they are in their career, won't feel they need to do this, but there is this huge desire across lots of practice managers to be recognised, to have our career professionalised, and this is the only vehicle that will do that for you. So just before I finish, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you for joining us again on this re-record. There are people I of course need to thank, and Robin Clark, one of our directors, absolutely so important in this whole process. So huge thanks to Robin, and of course to James Kingsland. But somebody that does so much work, and we forget to say thank you to. I just want to take a moment to say thank you to Ali, who's our business manager, who you know, is the only employee of the IGPM, and she keeps us all going. So Ali, thank you for organising everything that we do, and being that person in the background that just makes everything work. So thank you for coming and listening to this re-record, and we'll see you soon. We're going to plan a whole series of events over the summer, lunchtime webinars. So keep watching your social media, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody.